As citizens of a former state of the Soviet Union, many Lithuanians are anxiously following the events in Ukraine. As Lithuania prepares to host the next NATO Summit, I hit the streets of Vilnius, its capital, to find out how Lithuanians feel about Russia's war in Ukraine. I was surprised to learn that not everyone holds the views shared by the majority of the people in the West. So stick around to learn more. How do you feel about Russia's war in Ukraine?
The war is very near to our country, and I have some relatives in Ukraine, and I have some friends that are in the army. I'm really concerned about the whole situation.
The war is a horrible thing.
How do you feel about Russia's war in Ukraine?
We are still in a huge support for the Ukraine and the people of Ukraine. We have flags everywhere around here, and this is not just to show the support, but for us also to remember what is happening.
Both sides, have claims. The Ukrainians, they make the claim that it's their land. Russia has already claimed that it's Ukrainian and Russian. They're just one people. Vladimir Putin has claimed he's trying to denazify Ukraine, and for that reason he just had done the special military operation, as he called it.
It's very painful. I don't know how even to express it. And we are all the country. We are so involved about it, and everybody speaking. And even if you go in the morning to the job, so first topic with a coffee, you have to discuss what happens.
I have read that some people in Lithuania, especially among the older demographic, support Russia. Do you know anyone that supports Russia in this war?
I met one, and I can see that why they are doing, because their brains they are just washed with the propaganda years and years. They listening for they watch Russian TV. They listen for some kind of Russian radio.
I do now know people who support Russia in this whole situation, but it is a minority of them, and I think the problem about them is that they believe to the propaganda that the Russians are spreading, and they just don't have enough information, and it's really easy to manipulate them.
What is the propaganda that they bought into?
They think that Ukrainians are guilty for this war, and they also think that Russia is doing a special operation, that it's not the war, but it's like a special rescue operation to the Ukrainians.
A lot of Russian propaganda, when you hear it, it seems so true. You have to have a lot of information just to give real, real proof that they are wrong.
Yes, there are some people in the older generation that are supportive. There are still that generation that have been living in the Soviet Union. They had a pretty good life over there. And when we became independent, suddenly the whole world has changed. Our everyday life has changed, and I think some of the people have felt some kind of the security while living during those times.
Do you worry that if Ukraine loses, that Lithuania could be next, perhaps?
Yes, we do worry about that. Of course, we do understand that we are part of the NATO, but when the invasion started in the Ukraine, we suddenly felt a very huge threat.
First of all, I strongly believe that Ukraine won't lose, and Lithuania is in NATO, so I wouldn't say that Lithuania would be next.
We are so on the edge about this topic because also everybody, maybe I will not invest in real estate because the Russia is close and we don't know what will happen. So it's kind of in the air, such a like on the edge everything is going.
Lithuania, especially as a former Soviet state.
Yes.
Even though it's part of NATO, you still have this worry.
Yes. The stupid Prigozhin. Yeah. Somehow he went to Belarus, and he, with all his military vehicle and all his military, he got the bases. Lukashenko gave him bases. So now we had some kind of hooligans, a lot of hooligans with their guns sitting near to our border.
Well, Lithuania is part of NATO, but if Russia invades Ukraine, it says that other NATO countries like United States of America, Germany, and other military powers would enter the war. But I'm afraid it will be, it's kind of complicated. My fear is that other NATO countries will not provide the aid as it is stated on the NATO agreement in order to avoid a Third World War.
The long night of fear, uncertainty, and loneliness is over. You're joining the strong and growing family of NATO. Our alliance has made a solemn pledge of protection, and anyone who would choose Lithuania as an enemy has also made an enemy of the United States of America.
If Russia attacks Lithuania, and hopefully it doesn't,
Yeah,
would you fight in the war?
definitely yes. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, we had this discussion with my family, and you know, my wife said, I said, well, I have to support it, and my wife said, Vilnius, but we have 3 small kids. It was tough discussion. My brother also joined this, not army, but this like group, Šauliai, what I told, what he's teaching about all these guns, and also I'm planning also to join it.
Oh, that's complicated. It's easy for me to say like, oh, I would fight, but it's only when it happens that you're gonna see whether you're gonna fight for it or not.
Absolutely. I had lots of discussions with my friends and family about this, and especially with my dad, and I always told him that if there would be a war situation in Lithuania, I couldn't just sit calmly and do nothing or just run from Lithuania. I would absolutely try to help the Lithuania as much as I can. I would like to help even in the army or somewhere, so yes, I would probably just go fight for.
So you would risk your life for the freedom of your people?
Absolutely, because my grandparents did, my parents did, and I would do also.
Are you surprised by the amount of support that the world has shown to Ukraine?
I'm not surprised. I think that that was the right thing to do for Ukraine, because Ukraine takes the really important part in the world politics, and actually I think that the world should even provide more help for Ukrainians.
We see a lot of support. Yes, the amounts are big, huge, but the damage what is being done for Ukrainians and for the whole nation, it's much more bigger.
How do you feel about the NATO summit being held here?
The city is preparing. The politicians, main politicians of NATO and Europe countries are arriving here in our capital, and you know, in this period, Vilnius is, you know, in the center of action. So
It is.
So that's a great thing.
We're happy that it's going on. It's, you know, like some gesture to show that we had support. It would be also like a threat to Russia not to come here. But even though we are in NATO, we are very happy on that, and a lot of, I think all Lithuania is supporting, except all these Russians.
I think this is a very strong statement. We are a very small country. Of course, we are part of the NATO, but for us, it's a historical thing. We've been talking with my friends, and we are saying this is once in a lifetime what is happening. Everyone is coming into here. They're going to be talking about such things as Ukraine and all these plans, and I think it's a huge statement.
If you could talk to the people of Ukraine, what message of love and hope would you communicate to them?
Be strong.
I would say be strong as much as it is possible, because they are fighting not for themselves, they are fighting also for all the Europe.
I would say that, first of all, you're the most strong country in the world from me right now at the moment, and that you already have done a lot and that you'll get through it. And I strongly believe that you are going to win this fight, and that you are the ones who are fighting for peace.
Well, I wish them to stay strong. I know they're already very strong, but we are there for them.